Imagine you are a single-celled organism floating in a primeval puddle 2 billion years ago. Your life is simple. You eat, you grow, and you divide. You are your own boss. You are immortal as long as you keep splitting. You are essentially a tiny, selfish god of your own microscopic universe. But then, something strange happened. Life decided to stop being lonely, to become complex creatures like trees, blue whales, or humans. Trillions of cells had to sign a biological treaty. They had to stop being selfish. They agreed to stop reproducing whenever they wanted, to take on specific jobs, and eventually to die so the whole organism could live. It turns out, we often think of cancer as an outside invader, like a cold or the flu. But in reality, cancer is not an enemy from the outside. It is a rebellion from within. It is a fundamental glitch in the very cooperation that makes multicellular life possible. We haven't cured cancer because, in a way, cancer is a part of what it means to be alive. To understand why we haven't won, we need to look at the dark side of our own evolution. Let's zoom in.
Section 1. The democracy of cells. Your body is a massive civilization of roughly 30 to 40 trillion citizens. In this society, the laws are written in DNA. Imagine for a moment a city where every single citizen has the blueprint to build a nuclear power plant, but they are only allowed to work as a baker. Most of the time, this works perfectly. The skin cells make a barrier, the red blood cells carry oxygen, and the bone cells build the scaffolding. For this to function, your cells have to follow 3 strict rules. Only divide when the community tells you to. Stop growing when you touch your neighbors. If you become broken or useless, kill yourself for the good of the group. This third rule is called apoptosis, and it's the most selfless thing a cell can do. Every day, billions of your cells quietly commit suicide because they've developed a tiny error or just reached the end of their shift. But here's the thing. DNA is a physical object, and physical objects break. Every time a cell divides, it has to copy a manual that is 3 billion letters long. Even with the best spell checkers in the universe, mistakes happen. Tiny mutations pile up. Most of these mistakes do nothing. Some make the cell a bit sluggish. But occasionally, a mutation hits a specific set of instructions, the stop button.
Section 2. The return of the ego. When a cell's stop button breaks, it doesn't just stop working. It reverts to its ancient 2 billion-year-old programming. It forgets the treaty. It stops being a citizen and starts being an individual again. What's really happening is a biological time travel event. The cell remembers how to be a single-celled organism whose only goal is to survive and multiply at all costs. This is where things get complicated. One rogue cell isn't a problem. Your immune system is like a highly trained police force that patrols the body looking for citizens acting strangely. Usually, a natural killer cell spots the rebel and forces it to shut down. But cancer is an evolutionary process happening inside you. To survive, the rogue cell has to evolve. It needs to develop stealth to hide from the immune police. It needs to learn how to trick the body into sending it more food by growing new blood vessels. If a rogue cell survives long enough, it creates a colony, a tumor. This colony is no longer part of your body's democracy. It is a rival civilization living inside you, competing for your resources, and it has no intention of following the rules.
Section 3. The Hydra problem. Why can't we just find a magic bullet and kill it? It turns out the word cancer is a bit misleading. It's not one disease. It's more like a category of thousands of different rebellions. Lung cancer is different from bone cancer.
and your lung cancer is different from your neighbor's lung cancer. Let's zoom out to look at the scale of the problem. Inside a single tumor the size of a marble, there are billions of cancer cells. Because they divide so fast and their DNA copying is messy, they are constantly mutating. If you use a drug to kill the cancer, you might kill 99% of the cells. But because the tumor is so diverse, there might be one tiny group of cells that happens to have a mutation that makes them immune to that drug. These survivors then have all the space and food they want. They multiply, and now you have a tumor that is completely resistant to the medicine you just used. By trying to kill the cancer, we accidentally directed its evolution to make it stronger. It's like trying to fight a ghost that changes its shape every time you try to touch it. This is why winning against cancer is so much harder than fighting a virus or a bacteria. A bacteria is an alien. Cancer is a version of you that is better at surviving than you are.
Section 4. The pedo paradox. Why whales aren't giant tumors. If cancer is a game of math, where more cells and more time mean a higher chance of a copy error, then giant animals should be the first victims. Imagine for a moment a blue whale. It has thousands of times more cells than a human. In a normal world, with trillions of cell divisions every day, its body would be like a massive casino where every slot machine is broken. Mathematically, every blue whale should become a mountain of tumors before it even hits puberty. But in reality, whales and elephants hardly ever get cancer. This strange observation is called Pedo's paradox. This is where things get interesting. It turns out nature found ways to defeat cancer millions of years ago. It just hasn't shared the code with humans yet. Elephants, for example, have 40 copies of a gene called P53, known as the guardian of the genome. Humans only have 2. When an elephant cell experiences even a tiny bit of damage, the P53 system is so sensitive that it orders the cell to shut down immediately. It takes 0 risks. It is like a security team willing to demolish a whole room just because they found a single scratch on the window. But that isn't even the weirdest part. Scientists have a theory about hypertumors. Imagine a cancer growing inside a whale. It gets so large that it becomes its own ecosystem. Inside that tumor, a second group of mutant cells appears and starts betraying the original tumor.
Section 5. The future of the treaty. Managing the rebellion. So, are we stuck in a stalemate forever? Not quite. Our approach is shifting from total destruction to smart management. For decades, our main weapon has been chemotherapy, a biological nuclear bomb. It attacks every cell that divides quickly, but because it cannot tell the difference between the rebels and good citizens, like hair or stomach cells, it causes terrible damage to the whole body. But here is the deeper truth. When we try to use the strongest drugs to wipe out cancer, we accidentally create massive evolutionary pressure. The weak cancer cells die, but the ones that survive are super soldiers that resist everything. We are accidentally training our own enemy. This is where new strategies come in. One is adaptive therapy. Instead of trying to erase every cancer cell, doctors are testing ways to keep a small population of weak cancer cells alive. These weak cells compete for space and food with the stronger drug-resistant cells, preventing a massive outbreak of supercancer. We are learning to keep the rebellion stable instead of starting a war we might lose. At the same time, immunotherapy is starting a new era. Instead of using poison, we are learning how to talk to the immune system again. Cancer often has a way of shouting chemical signals that make the body's police force walk past without suspicion, a kind of invisibility cloak. New medicines help remove this cloak, giving the immune system a special pair of glasses to see the disguise. Once spotted, your own T cells handle the rebels with microscopic precision, without hurting the neighbors. We aren't just fighting for the body, we are giving the body the tools to enforce its own laws. Ending? A part of the whole. Cancer is a sobering reminder of our history.
We are not single solid things. We are walking, talking colonies of cooperation. The fact that most of us live for decades without a major cellular rebellion is a biological miracle. Every day, your cells choose to cooperate trillions of times. They choose to follow the treaty. They choose the group over themselves. We may never fully erase cancer from the human experience because you cannot have the complexity of a human being without the risk of the machinery breaking down. It is the price we pay for being more than just a puddle of slime. But as we learn more about how our cells talk, work, and heal, we aren't just finding ways to live longer. We are learning the deepest secrets of what makes life possible in the first place. And that is a journey worth taking. Would you like me to create the storyboard for the pedo paradox scene, or develop prompts for an image generation tool based on this script?